Family, what's up? We are back on another episode of the CEO Pulse podcast where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. We are sitting down today with Sharon Vornholt. She is the owner of Innovative Property Solutions in Louisville, Kentucky, or Louisville, as they say over there. We were talking about that earlier. She began investing in 1988, originally as a rehabber. She became an accidental wholesaler around 2008. And I want to break into that because, I mean, the dates and the strategy just kind of match up. Eventually, like, her passion evolved to empowering and educating women interested in real estate investment. So that's really, really cool. She's also the host of the popular podcast, Let's Talk Real Estate Investing, and the Gals Real Estate blog in Louisville. So she's got an extensive background when it comes to real estate. She's seen it all through the last years, the highs and the lows of 2008, and then the craziness that's going on today right now. So I'm very, very excited to have you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Well, thank you for having me, Rafael.
Yeah, no, I was lucky to be on your podcast not too long ago. So it feels like we literally just spoke yesterday.
We did almost.
Yeah. So give us a little bit of context on your background.
Well, my background was that my dad was a general contractor, and growing up, I was the oldest of 4 children, and by default, the most well-behaved. So I got to tag along with him on job sites, and that's where I really loved the creation of of creating something, rehabbing, remodeling. He did mostly commercial renovations, but so that's where I got my original love of real estate. And fast forward into 1991, I had the crazy idea to open a home inspection company. So I did that, and long about 1998, I had a realtor walk in and say, do you want to go to a RIA meeting? And I said something like, what's a RIA meeting?
What's a RIA?
RIA meeting. I only knew that real estate agents could be realtors. So I went to that meeting in 1998, and I've gone ever since. That opened up a whole new world for me. So I bought my first property in that year. And I since I had another business, I kind of limped along. I'd do a rehab, buy a rental, do a couple rehabs, buy a rental that way. And then 2008 came, and I decided to close down the home inspection business, right? It was the best of times and the worst of times. And the whole world was on sale in 2008.
It's crazy.
Property was crazy. However, retail buyers couldn't get a mortgage. And I found myself with a couple of houses to rehab. And I thought, boy, I don't want to rehab these things and then find out I have to hold them for a year or who knows how long. Yeah. And that's when I just called up a couple of investors I knew. Now, this sounds really easy, but I'd been in the business 10 years by that time. And it was like, Rafael, I've got a couple houses. You want to buy them? Sure. Sure. These were investors that were investing part-time, but they had W-2 jobs and they had real businesses behind them. So I became a source of deals because one of my strengths was marketing. I was good at finding properties. So it never was a thing I intended to do. I never intended to keep doing it, but it just kind of went that way.
Wow. So you saw the opportunity and you pivot in 2008 from your traditional stuff. And the interesting thing is that you let go of a business that you had for 8 years?
17 years.
17 years.
From 91 till
2008. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. And then you ended up wholesaling. So one thing that I always say is I love wholesaling. If I were to go back and then start it all over again, I would start with that, right? And it's in real estate investments. It's in that same realm, right? But it's not necessarily doing the real estate investment part. It's the art of marketing. It's really what it is. It's the art of finding, motivated sellers and distressed sellers, and then coming in, providing a solution for them, right? We always talk about that, but I think the connotation, right, that no, it's not part of real estate investing. It's not even part of real estate. Like, I've heard that conversation before, and I disagree. I mean, I think it's very well within the realm. It's just a different approach to it, right? We invest a lot of money, for example, in marketing. A lot of it's spent in trial and error when algorithms change with, I don't know, campaigns and Facebooks and you name it. When you're sourcing the deal, there's all kinds of stuff that go, weird, right? And they'll be working for a while and then they stop working and you have to come in and adjust and pivot. So branding.
You have to pivot all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of the entrepreneur hat, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think if you can't do that, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
When I pivoted in 2008, it was a logical thing to do at that time because I was good at sourcing deals. I knew people that could buy the deals, but I didn't want to be holding a rental, a potential flip for 18 months. It just wasn't something I wanted to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only thing that people were certain of was that everything was tanking, right? We didn't know if it was going to get better in a year, if it was going to get worse in a year. I mean, it's a high degree of uncertainty in that time. So you began wholesaling, and then you just stuck through it. So now it's part of your regular strategy.
I just stuck through it. And I really believe I've heard all the same arguments that you have. And I think even if you are strictly a buy and hold landlord, you still have to be sourcing properties, and you're going to get properties that don't fit for your portfolio. I think wholesaling is a huge opportunity if you're a rehabber to build a bank of money for when things don't go right. And it's a way to help you pay off your rentals. So I think everybody should have a component of wholesaling in their business.
When you're first in line for the property, you can pick and choose, right? You can pick and choose what you want to do. Do I cherry pick this and then flip it, keep it as a buy and hold, or whatever strategy that is, right? But you're first in line, you're direct to seller. I mean, that's value in itself. And we do the exact same thing. In my business, we generate on average from anywhere from 10 to 12 deals a month. And that's the same thing. It's consistency, right? It's there, and it's cherry picking. We'll keep some of the deals, and then we push a lot of the deals that they just don't fit the wheelhouse. Yeah. So now what is your day like? For example, now you've been in real estate for a long time. You know the ins, you know the outs. You're coaching as well. You have a signature course on probate investing, which probate investing is a whole different can of worms. So,
well, not if you know it. So yes, so,
exactly.
I always focused on off-market deals. And part of it was just, I would tell people we used to be the Libra poster child. I just didn't like to get in there and scrap around with a million other people for a property on the MLS. So for me, it was the easy way to find deals. And I learned, since I knew how to market, and I'm like you, I like talking directly to the seller. I love agents, nothing against agents, but I like to go directly to the seller. And with probates, you have a unique opportunity. They are by far the most lucrative deals on the planet. As far as wholesales, buy and hold, it doesn't matter. But you have to get your mindset right around probates. And that's the thing, one of the things that keeps investors from doing probates. And you are literally cherry picking houses that have to be sold. Think about that for a minute. They don't really it's not if they're going to sell, it's when they're going to sell. And they have kind of a timeline because the estate has to be closed. So that's why I love probates. That's why I think everybody should add probates to their business.
Yeah, we do probate specific campaigns. Maybe we don't hit them as hard as we should. But yeah, they're definitely, I mean, there's tricks, tricks is the wrong word, I guess. There's strategies to it when you start implementing, how to manage a probate deal. One of the things that's helped us out a lot has been creating key relationships with probate attorneys. Like one issue that we've seen happen is people don't have the money to go through the probate process, right? And not that we want to put it out of pocket, right? But we've set up an arrangement. So our attorney will come in, take a look at the case, review and whatnot, see if there's any hiccups along the way, and then they'll get paid at the closing. So I mean that's huge value for somebody who's in that probate space, right? But it's stuff like that you can come in and then offer to people that makes it like a no-brainer for them, and then for you, of course, like.
Well, that's true. And I think I always tell people there's always something else that your seller wants in addition to money. Now, maybe it is a probate attorney to help.
Right.
Maybe it's cleaning out the house, but there's always something else that they want other than money. And if you can figure out what that is, and you do that, I believe, by talking to them and letting them talk, being a good listener, they will almost always tell you. If you just say, what can I do to move this deal along? They'll tell you what they need. They'll just tell you.
Yeah. That whole 70-30 ratio on conversation. If when we're even, call it negotiating, right? But if we're doing 30% of the talking, it's going the right route. You don't want to be doing most of the talking in a space like that. So what has been, I mean, you've pivoted a few times, you've done a rehab, wholesale, and then you had an inspection company. What has been your biggest challenge since you got started in 91 as an entrepreneur?
Well, I think the biggest challenge has been that for me is I've been in 3 male dominated fields, and where real estate, home inspections, we were just a surprise when 2 women opened up a home inspection company. We'll just say that. So not that I was crawling under houses, had people to do that, but and within real estate, I have to say it's from the time I started 1998, it was challenging. Because it wasn't good or bad. It just was. Most investors were men. So we have a large real estate investing group here at the time, 500 or 600 members a month. And you could count on one hand the female investors in there. So we had to kind of find our way. And there was a lot of mindset around that where you just had to say, okay, I can do this. It's great if I get some help, but if I don't, then I can figure it out. So you had to kind of give yourself a pep talk really in those days to walk into the room. Now things have changed somewhat, but Rafael, overall, it's still mostly men in real estate investing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would agree. It's still mostly men. I've seen a huge increase over the last few years in women just picking up interest in real estate altogether, right? And not just going, straight for the traditional real estate license and that route, but looking at real estate investments, looking at commercial. I mean, I know women in Phoenix who are just killing it in commercial. Yeah, exactly, commercial, and then real estate investors, and so it's getting there. And I've seen a spike over the last couple of years, right? I don't think I absolutely think there should be more. Like people need to get more engaged in this and actually come and take opportunity. Because I mean, having a male dominated industry, it's full of knuckleheads a lot of times, right? That counterbalance is not necessarily there as an industry, but it's getting there, and I love seeing that. I love seeing the interest, the engagement, and then just some of my good friends just killing it and crushing it in real estate investments and wholesaling and pivoting within the field. So what are 3 I don't know, give me, for example, maybe 3 things that somebody who's jumping into real estate or they should focus on?
Well, the number one thing is marketing. You won't have to worry about learning to negotiate a deal or closing a deal or any of the other things if you're not marketing. And that certainly is all the channels like Rafael does, like I do. I'm a big proponent of direct mail. I think hands down over time,
really,
it is the number one strategy. I've seen it through 2 businesses. I talk about BI, Rafael, before the internet, direct mail, but direct mail still works today. It works great. So whatever you are comfortable with, I'll never be cold calling anyone. Now, I know you're great at cold calling, but so you have to choose how you want to market yourself. So that would be number one. You have to do marketing. Number 2, and this is the biggest mistake as I look back that I made, was I did not begin to brand myself right away. So you think I'm a brand new real estate investor. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So I have no brand. And I tell people, go to your local meetup, your real estate investors meeting, and just say, hey, I'm Janet. I'm brand spanking new and I'm here to learn. Well, that person will remember you. Right. So you have to be out and about. You can't be the best kept secret in town. Know that it's not really who you know, but it's who knows you. If Rafael's got a deal and he doesn't know you, if he's got a deal to sell, he can't possibly contact you. And it's your job to build your brand, but you always have to do that ethically, morally. Do what you say you're going to do every single time. Branding, people think it's fancy colors and logos and all of that. And that is a part of it. That's the physical side of branding. But branding at its essence is the way you make people feel. And another way to put it is it's what they say about you after you walk out of the room.
I love that. The way you make people feel. Yeah.
Do they feel valued? Do they feel like you're trustworthy? If I say Rafael is if Rafael tells me he's going to do something, do I know with 100% certainty that he's going to do it? You want to, people often do business with you, even though you don't give them the best price, if they trust you.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of deals that we've gotten just because they feel more, they feel more comfortable with us. They feel like we are actually being genuine, and we are every time we step in front of a seller or somebody who we're going to be doing business with. But yeah, I mean, you're spot on when it comes to branding, right? It's not just about the colors. It is about authenticity. It's about, who are you, and then putting that person out there. I can tell you, I had the biggest challenge with that. I've never been a big social media person. Now, I mean, I post a lot of stuff, but it's everything that I post has an intention behind it, right? It's a message. It's business related, that sort of thing. So I use it a lot, but it was a big challenge for me to come to terms with the fact that I had to, marketing is one thing, it's business, it's strategies, it's direct mail, I'm okay with that, right? But putting my name out there, myself out there, was just uncomfortable at the beginning. And I'm telling you, it's really been a game changer in terms of impact, in terms of, the revenue, in terms of clarity. And then, my purpose, my everything I do comes back to empowering entrepreneurship. That's how I sum it up, right? And I wouldn't be able to do that if I wasn't branding myself the right way. So it's very, very important. It's not just about likes and shares, right? It's really about that that deeper.
Exactly, is to be willing to be of service to other people without expecting anything in return.
Right.
That brand itself brands you as someone that stands out. Now, I'm not saying always work for free, but if someone needs some help and you can provide them that help, just go at it from a giving position, and don't expect, I gave you this, so you give me back this. But that's the third thing I would say.
I love it. Lead with value. It's in Phoenix, we have this group, and my friend Brandon, he's actually the Brandon Simmons. He's his brother actually lives in Louisville, and that's where they're from. But he started a mastermind group, very intimate type setting. It was just a handful of people, and we were all real estate investors. And this started years ago. But it's the Go Giver Mastermind. So the question, the big thing. This is crazy when you talk about leading with value and actually helping, and then putting that foot forward first. This is crazy. He calls me one day, he goes, "Rafael, I have an idea. I want to put something together. I mean, would you want to come to it?" I was like, "Absolutely, sign me up." It's my friend, right? So I just want to go hang out with my friends. And then we figured out that the idea behind this was to help each other out, and we're all wholesalers in the same market. And I mean, that's you're not used to, like, I wasn't used to, like, no, I'm gonna guard and keep my secrets. Like, nobody's gonna take my secrets from me. You know what I mean? And then we started getting together and then just sharing, okay, what's working in marketing. And I was like, is this really happening? And because you're in a room full of, quote unquote competitors, right? And yeah, I mean, we started sharing strategies. We started sharing, best practices and what works and what doesn't. And the whole thing just blew up. The group started growing and growing. And then we switched from that. I think it was really a scarcity mindset. Not in terms of volume and the deal that, the amount of deals that was happening, but scarcity in terms of, I want to protect, what I have, because otherwise they're going to take the business away from me, that sort of thing. So coming in from that standpoint, it was, it was weird, but what happened was collaboration. Like, people started collaborating with other people, and then just, my weaknesses were somebody else's, strengths. And it just, the whole level up thing and squatting up thing just kind of started happening. And it's really amazing when you lead with that intention to help. I know I've started conversations with the intention to help somebody, and I walk away being helped.
I know, every time. It's funny how that works. And I told somebody the other day, there was a competitor coming into their market that was going to be doing like 40,000 mail pieces a month, and they were worried. And
Yeah.
I said, don't be concerned about that. Because if you were to line 5 wholesalers up, you could all be competent, you could all be good, but none of us will be everybody's cup of tea. They
Right.
might lean more to the what your style of doing business or my style. Just be yourself. Always be yourself when you're branding yourself, and your people will find you.
I love it. What's your approach to empowerment? Because I feel like our purposes kind of overlap, right? So you have, specifically you talk about empowering and educating women. How do you go about that?
Well, I just try to draw them in. Now, bear in mind that most of my students are actually, probably a vast majority of them are male. So it's not that I'm trying to exclude them. It's not, everybody is included. But my point is to try to encourage women, especially younger women, that think there's no place for them, to tell them there is a place. And the men in this group, many of them helped me along. Many of them didn't, but many of them did. But the truth of the matter is, there's a place for you. There's a different negotiation strategy men have than women have. I think women are uniquely suited for probates. They're moms. They know how to talk to people about difficult things. And I think there's a place for everyone. That's really my strategy, is just let them know that there is a place for them.
Yeah, coming in and supporting along the way is huge. Sometimes it doesn't even take that much, right? People are already in alignment. I see that quite a bit with my students. It's a lot of them, they're in very good alignment. It's just an accountability issue. It's I want to kind of, jump off and the edge of the mountain, but I don't know, I want a parachute.
Exactly. I want the parachute.
Yeah, I want the parachute. I don't want to have to worry about growing the wings on the way down. And sometimes that's what it takes, right? Just a little bit of guidance, and if you have a good infrastructure or framework for that kind of stuff, I mean, it helps people and it changes lives. Like it's really what it does.
It does. And I think it is encouragement and accountability. I think it comes down to that. I think you need both, but encouragement, people just need to know that they can do this.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I mean, that's huge. That's huge. When you got started, I mean, you got exposed to real estate very early on through your dad, right? And did you ever have self-doubt as far as, okay, I'm jumping into something that's not necessarily the easiest industry, right? It's a dog eat dog world out there. And when it comes to real estate, it doesn't matter if you're doing traditional or, whatever you're doing in real estate, like just, you bet your ass there's going to be competition. So how did you deal with that, the challenges that can, sometimes you posted like on that mindset front?
Well, that's a tough one, because people think you can fix your mindset and it's done. You get up every day and fix your mindset. Yeah. I think that's true. This is a tough business. It's simple, but it's not easy. So I think you have to surround yourself with like-minded people. I think that's the biggest thing. Surround yourself with people that are smarter than yourself, people that you can help along the way. But I think you get up and work on your mindset. And I think you have to consciously work on your mindset, and you have to be okay with certain things. Maybe that your competitors are the way they are or whatever. And I like to think of it, I did this with the home inspection company. I was aware of all the people out there, but I just kind of went down the middle. I stayed in my lane. I did my thing. And I would say, just get up every day and know that you're going to be the best you that you can be. Be aware of your competition, but don't be concerned with them. Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, there's plenty of business out there. I feel like there's plenty, even in a market, such as Phoenix, where it's extremely saturated, right? There's everybody's a wholesaler, everybody, and their moms too. And so there's plenty of offers on the streets, right? But there's still deals that are happening on a regular basis. So the point being is we're stopped on our tracks just because of the thought of competition. I don't think we're giving ourselves enough credit on our own capacity to improve, right? I think my biggest competition is me. It's me, from the guy from yesterday. Like that's a guy that I want to beat. I want to be better tomorrow.
Love that.
And I feel like that's helped me get into some of the harder places where I've been able to do business. And for example, transportation was huge, landing government contracts, which was my first business that I launched. But that was also very competitive, and you had corporate competition, you had all that stuff. And I don't know if it was just being naive or staying naive. I think I try to make that a point. I don't want to get too realistic with my life, because then it's gloomy. Meaning that well, if I don't go for this, because there's companies out there, there's competition, the market is this, societal norms are this, or whatever, you name it, it's going to be out there, right? But if I stop myself from doing cool things, stuff that I'm enticed to, or just even curious about, because of everything else, we're not going to get anywhere, right? Like, you don't move.
Yes, and I'd say a couple things about that. I think, to your point, a certain amount of ignorance is bliss. I certainly had that.
Yeah.
I thought I knew what I was doing with the home inspection company.
Yeah.
I had no freaking clue what I was getting into. So it just took one problem at a time and moved on down the road, and always continuing education. But I think you have to be all the time working on yourself. That's the key. You cannot ever think you're done working on yourself. And so a little bit of ignorance, but knowing that you have to just keep going the path.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. So Sharon, thank you so much. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, maybe find out more about the Probate Investing Simplified program that you have, where would they go? How would they reach? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, you can get directly to that from probateinvestingsimplified.com. You can also go over to the blog, Louisville Gals Real Estate blog.com. And there's a link off of there to the podcast, Let's Talk Real Estate Investing. There's a link to the course. Then there's a ton of free content over there on probates, marketing, branding, and many other real estate topics.
Huge.
They have 900 pieces of content over there now.
Wow. And that's on your YouTube channel, or
that's on the blog.
On the blog.
That's on the blog, then the podcast.
Gotcha. Okay, and I'll be sure to put the links on the show notes. And that's Louisville Gals Real Estate blog, and then Probate Investing Simplified course, and then the podcast is the Let's Talk Real Estate Investing podcast. Right.
That's right.
All right, perfect. Before we sign off, I have a question that I love to ask. I felt, and the little bit of background on this, I felt I owned the world when I was 17 years old, right? And I'm just, I'm curious as to what people would tell their younger self. So if you were walking down the street and you ran into your 17-year-old self, what would you tell that young Sharon?
Well, I was the opposite of you. I felt like the complete opposite of you. I wish I had felt like I owned the world, but would tell myself to dig deep and find the confidence to do what you want to do. It took me a long time to get to that position. We should all be, Rafael.
Yeah. Wow. I felt like I owned the world at 17, and then at 19, I didn't know a thing about the world.
I think we wake up every day.
That's the one part I didn't mention.
Honestly, I don't know a single entrepreneur that doesn't wake up every single day or a lot of days and have self-doubt. They feel like an imposter. So everybody's going to have days like that, because no matter where you are, you see this other person over here that's doing this or that. And I think you have to give yourself some self-talk, give yourself some grace, and know that this is not easy, but you can do it. Yeah. I love it. Sharon, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to stop by and giving us insight as to how you've been able to create all the stuff that you created. You've been able to pivot within industries that are, dominated by men, and you're absolutely crushing it. So I love seeing that. I love the inspiration that's behind it. I love the fact that you're putting all this good stuff out there. And again, I thank you for stopping by on the show. Well, thank you for having me. Family, it's a wrap. There you guys have it. Stay focused. You got this.